Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. To some of you and peace out to the rest of you. This is Blackheart signing Black in again. I'm recording this largely for the purpose of pointing out that there's a reason that men, black men, seem to not build, although we're all over the spectrum like men of other races are. I'm gonna try to make this quick. When it comes down to it, sisters, I've heard many of you say, well, black men don't build. And I'm gonna point something out to you with no hatred, but I'm gonna point it out to you to help you out. In other countries, men of other races and nationalities are not better builders, and they're not more often builders than we are. Speaking to ADOS women largely, you are comparing yourselves. You are comparing your men to men from countries in which U.S. embassies sit and cherry pick those who apply to immigrate to the U.S. And that's why you think that black men are the furthest behind. It's artificial. An African American who can travel can go to India and see how much better off we are than your average person in India. Everybody in India is not an engineer or a neurosurgeon or a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon. Everybody in India is not even decent. You got some trifling niggas out there, just like you got over here, and they'll do stuff we wouldn't do. There's a professor from India working at a university in Louisiana. He had an illegitimate daughter by a sister. I met this woman. She eventually found out who her dad was, went to meet him, all this, right in the same city. They took a trip to India. This dude tried to sell his own daughter. She found out and fled, got back to the States. She met her dad and found out that he was trying to sell her. What the hell, man? Now, granted, she's very beautiful, she's attractive. She wound up passing away later, I think in a car accident. But this was a professor working at a university in the United States, in my state, and he wasn't decent when he met his daughter. Now, if he had been indecent and broke laws before, he would have been caught more than likely and then deported at the end of his sentence. No, this dude became indecent when he found out he had a daughter. Better to sell her than to turn around and tell the community from which he comes, I've got an illegitimate daughter and she's black, because that's shameful to them. So I want you to understand that we're not the worst off. As I've said before, sisters, brothers are not better or worse builders than men of other backgrounds. We never have been. Well, maybe we're better, but we damn sure ain't worse. So this odd argument brought up is an argument that even white Western women don't bring up against their men, and they're having the same arguments and troubles we are to a certain extent. They're happening. Oh yeah, Western men are quick to leave Western women and these Western white nations. And Western women are looking at these men and they're saying, you can't handle a strong Western woman from your own country. Does this sound familiar? That's where the hell you got it from. But by the same token, you've also failed to understand, sisters, that these brothers don't have to do more for you than what other men have done for their women just to get half the results and less respect. So I want it to be understood, sisters, that when brothers are ditching you and going for just non-ADOS women, it is not usually because they just don't want to build. No, these other women aren't sitting up and saying, you don't have to build anything. And they're not saying you've never built anything. They're just somewhere in the middle. That's what it is. This may have to be done because you're not necessarily somewhere in the middle on that spectrum. And the thing is, we never heard this argument about what you don't build. When I was back in 2012, I didn't hear this. Well, black men don't build nothing. Come the F off of it. You know, when you go into other communities in the U.S. or out of the U.S., the man may labor or he may build. He may own or he may work for somebody else. Whatever the case is, he does not go home and get kicked around. He is not told or belittled by his wife. And if he is, he leaves her. I met a soldier here in this country. And this soldier here in this country told me, he showed me a video of his daughter. And he said to me, when I first divorced my wife, my daughter was still a baby. My wife became worse because she thought that I couldn't leave her because of the daughter. But wallah, meaning I swear to God, he said, I swear to God. In so many words he told me, and forgive me for swearing, but I'm trying to relate what he said. In so many words he told me, this bitch was so bad, she ran me off even though I would have otherwise stayed for my daughter. So I'm arranged to marry another woman who doesn't have a tongue. Now I said, wait a minute, what happened to her mouth? And he said, no, I don't mean she doesn't literally have a tongue. What I mean is she doesn't have a tongue that's a weapon. My ex-wife's tongue was a weapon. All she did was insult and complain, nothing else. And then she tried to stop me from seeing my daughter when we divorced. I had to go over there one day. Her uncle answered the door. What do you want? You're not married to her anymore. And I said, I came to see my daughter. And if I come back here in 2 hours and my daughter's not here, I'm killing somebody. If my daughter ain't gonna have me, then I'm gonna be executed. That's real. He came back 2 hours later. His daughter was ready. The uncle handed his baby daughter, she was a baby at the time, and he's kept a relationship with his daughter since then. So what I want you to understand is that these things happen across the board, but what is different, the only thing that is different, Ado sisters, is that black men don't react the same way. This man is a soldier. He could have drugged his wife out to the desert, blown her damn brains out, and nobody would have been able to prove it was him. There would have been an investigation, but nobody would have been able to prove it. He could have reported his wife ran away, acting like he really thought she ran away. And then if they found her later, then how you gonna prove it was him that did it? He could have done that. People don't do that much here. What he did do was he told her, you and I are done. Even though we have this daughter, you go back to your father's house and I'll come and visit my daughter. That's what he did. And this is something else that went on. This is something else that goes on here. If a woman is divorced, many times the men automatically assume that it is her fault. And divorced women here have a rough time finding another husband. A widow can find a husband more easily than a divorced woman can. That's real. So women here face a choice sometimes. The thing is that a husband here is considered to be something of value, even though the husband is the one that has to pay the dowry. The husband is considered to be something of value. You don't want to throw your husband away. These women understand that. In the States, shoot, a man, husband or boyfriend. In the U.S., a husband is completely cheap and invaluable. Throw him away. He's worth nothing. Get another one. You can throw him away because he's too short. You can throw him away for any reason. That's the only difference. So this argument about not building, this is not something that goes on. What I'm telling you is that you're acting like every other man is so much better than the African-American man right off the bat. And I'm telling you that that's really not the case. And I'm telling you that I've witnessed it. And if you really believe that the African-American man is the worst, then go try these other dudes. Tell us how that goes. I hope this has been a benefit. Assalamu alaikum.